back everyone to Let's Play Sunless Sea with me, BrainBoy 20, where we last left off. We had an unfortunate event occur on a 93% chance. We did not manage to sneak by the Harbour Masters, and we lost our unstamped crate of brilliant souls for the Cheery Man and the Blinded Bruiser. As such, my captain feels that his misfortune has risen to such a degree that he needs to retire from seafaring life. But one does not retire from a life of seafaring adventure easily. As such, we have one final task ahead of us. We are to take the Neath's greatest explorer, in her own mind at least, take her and her bodyguard to the Empire of Hands. So without further ado, let's fill up our supplies. Fill up our provisions to maximum. Well, to the maximum that we will need to make it to the Empire of Hands, and maybe make a return trip. And without further ado, let us shove off once more into the unknown, with this captain at least. What I plan to do, or what I intend to do after we retire, is once again restart this series after a small hiatus to start a new series. And then when we come back, I'll fulfill the bargain that I did at the very first episode. For anyone who wanted to select a specific captain's portrait, they would. And I still haven't decided if I'm going to use their name or not for the new captain, regardless of how weird it might be, unless it's something utterly profane. Or you can make a request for the name. And then I'll start off a captain. I might select a different past as well as ambition, although I haven't really decided what either of those would be. And with that, I think we will cut off after we have this little battle that occurs here. And thankfully he's looking the opposite direction, meaning I get to take a free shot and then I get to take another one on him. I was certainly lucky. Loot and scuttle, cache curiosities, and we have fuel. Anyway, when we come back, we shall be at the Empire of Hands, hopefully to complete whatever segment of the journey this is. And I'll see you all in a bit. And we come back, and we're being currently chased by something I don't know. So I'm gonna run the dog, and it's a pirate frigate. Let's run in fear and hopefully not get destroyed. I mean, I really don't care, considering I won't die from this. Oh, and if you're wondering why I didn't upgrade my ship, I don't remember if I explained this last episode or not. This is something I just came up with now when I looked back and saw the crew of amounts and values. The reason I did not upgrade my ship is because I cannot actually transfer my ship over from captain to captain. I can transfer money over, but not the ship, and so I intend to, when I return, have some amount of captivating treasures and adorn my lodgings with some heirlooms so I could pass along some money in the hopes of purchasing a ship immediately. So I think you get enough starting supplies for a very brief excursion into the sea. If not, I'll make do. Anyway, Republic Ascendant, we will refuel and leave. My hold is basically going to be near full constantly, as that's kind of what I intended to do with this. And I will see you all next time when something interesting occurs over at the Empire of Hands. Goodbye. I welcome you all back to the Isle of the Pentecost Apes. To the Empire of Hands. And I'm still ill. You'll find that illnesses with me never go away. A delightful welcome. The delightful adventuress leans over the rail of the ship, sniffing the humid air with evident distaste. What a filthy, damp little place. Oh well, we shall endure. At the sight of the mare hobbling up, she straightens. A thin, insincere smile spreads across her face. "Ah, you there, my good primate. Primitive, she calls, striding down the ramp, clasping his arm tight. Now then, I come in search of your first Emperor's vault, and for that I shall be needing a few things, some of your finest workers, and tools, and some food. Do you understand me? She shakes her head, barely waiting for a response. F-O-O-D, she repeats. Compreñas? Oh dear, I see we shall be here for a while. Listen, I hear you fellows rather like souls. Shall we discuss that like higher primates? Payment for the journey. Barnabas stays to settle up while his mistress negotiates the value of her soul with the mayor. Little side note, I apologize for earlier on. I forgot to turn off Steam Overlay, and I can't really do that in the middle of a recording session, because that might... well, I might exit out in order to reset this, and then it might teleport me away like it did last time. A man with no face. Barnabas removes his mask with what looks to be a silent moment of great relief. Underneath is nothing, just a flat surface where his face should have been. Ah, an unfinished clayman, one of those flawed products of polytherine that follow their own rules. If only you'd known that before he boarded. Of course, that's why the adventuress never mentioned it. He silently presents you with your agreed fee, dips his head in a polite bow, and lumbers back to his mistress. It appears she has struck a deal with the mayor. The delightful adventuress will establish a base camp on Fountainhead Island. She welcomes your assistance as one who has proven to be not entirely useless. I gain some echoes. I no longer have the Isle. So, let's see. Fountainhead Island, she's right there. Hearthsake Village and Sovereign Isle. There's a very specific route I'm going to take, but first things first, Port Stanton. The Zeppelin, they're not going to let me through. Makes sense. Audience of civilized manner. An audience with a civilized mayor. Talk business? Why, yes, of course we shall, but after a cup of tea, one must do these things correctly. Can I compile a port report? Of course. Letters from the Wheel-and-Wheeled Court. You write down your latest discoveries and seal them ready for delivery on return to London, or fallen London. Darling, do come in, the civilized mayor purrs. Whatever can I do for you? The soul of a delightful adventuress sits comfortably in him. A full-souled ape of cold ambition and very few scruples. I could sell my soul to the mayor, but I have a feeling that, no, my captain doesn't want to make any more poor decisions. No thanks, I shall excuse myself. Yes. We shall go sailing to the Fountainhead Isle. Ancient tombs and buried treasure await on this island. The sound of the oars would almost be hypnotic if your arms weren't burning so hard with the effort. And we shall most definitely visit the delightful adventuress's camp. With a small army of monkeys bought with her soul, she excavates the vault of the first emperor. Foliage is thick and unforgiving. A lively adventuress, helped by her faceless clayman bodyguard Barnabas, and a small group of worker monkeys hired for the price of a soul, works to excavate the vault of the first emperor. We could get a gift for the monkey emperor. A delightful adventuress is already covered and put aside many treasures. A small statue among them looks particularly interesting. Speak with her as she prepares to make a run on the vault of the first emperor. Its stone entrance dominates a small clearing, or we could leave the camp. I think I shall speak with her first. Oh, it's you. Of course. Help me with these blasted maps, would you? The monkeys are quite clueless. She shakes her head. They claim our souls uplift them, but if you ask me, it's just a case of monkey see, monkey do. Can you believe they think that the Zeppelin of theirs will let them create a new empire? Wait, you there! Take that out of your mouth this very second! Flustered circus mistress. I prefer to believe the soulless don't have as many emotions as before. We shall see the gift of the Monkey Emperor. A small statue among them looks particularly interesting. Nobody is watching. At least you don't think so. It's hard to tell with Barnabas's blank face giving nothing away. Can you see? He seems to be able to, somehow. In any event, he makes no move to raise an alarm as you take the small trinket. And see the vault of the first emperor. A not-so-ancient edifice. It may look centuries old, but this entryway is relatively new. The monkeys can never leave alone, always adding bits on as their whims demand. Delightful archaeology. The tribute to the Empire's first and greatest has been constructed over generations by monkeys working with stolen ideas of what an ancient tomb should be. Outside the vault, the delightful adventuress flits back and forth between her base camp and the vault entrance. To rush, darling, is to court tragedy. The delightful adventuress pays barely any attention to you as she prepares. She is not yet ready to open the vault. You should return later when she's had a chance to organize her monkey workers. This may take a while. I'm gonna take a shortcut past. Leave to the work. That zeppelin could be an opportunity. Perhaps someone in the court of Sovereign Island would be able to point you in the right direction. Interesting. Return to the boat. I will travel to Sovereign Island. They still demand a gift worthy of the Emperor to open up their court. Perhaps on another island. It's been a while since you spent this much time behind oars. Your muscles will be glowing by the time you finish your business in the Empire. We shall gain access to court. The well-wheeled court. The stench and the heat as the gate opens are a sucker punch to your senses. Inside, the stagnant air of the windowless wood palace hangs with sweat and tastes of hair. Everything is filthy and every surface used. The apes is likely to swing across the roof as to walk the floors. In prized oasis of relative calm, the high-souled conduct themselves with the poise of high-born lords and ladies. Around them, the barely uplifted lessers scamper around exhausted, taking orders and cruelties from all who care to dispense them. In the middle are countless more, a sea of apes longing for advancement and fighting for what they have with tooth, claw, and low cunning. Wildwood's status is now 5, and my business is now 30. Summoned by the Emperor. To step into this throne room is to step into another world, a polished one of cool and blessed quiet that already feels as alien as it is pleasant. Emperor Crispin IV holds court in the heart of this palace. None may speak without permission, but the voice of the Emperor is still the least heard of all. An official welcome. The Emperor sits on his throne, wrapped in robes of violet, and wearing an ornate golden mask. He remains motionless, silent. He could be mistaken for a statue, if not for an almost imperceptible nod to grant his seneschal permission to speak in his name. She approaches, arms folded in the red-trimmed yellow robes of a court mandarin. Her expression is carefully blank, the chestnut hair on her face powdered alabaster, white and decorated with exquisite detail in red and black. The rings of her fingers mark her as a 10-souled ape, a status even the Admiralty can respect. She bows before you, a complicated, ritual display of sweeping sleeves that somehow never breaks eye contact. Finish, she waits for your response. Of course, my page is quality. I'll attempt to return the bow. Well, this could be very poor, considering I didn't bother upgrading my statistics in the slightest. Okay, good, and if you'll excuse me, there's something I need to ask. My apologies for that. Once again, family came over without me knowing about it, and my family does not have an indoor voice. Yeah. Anyway, a flicker of approval. You bow deeply, but not to the exquisite seneschal. She is but a voice of the Emperor, and it is to him that your respect is due. He makes no move, and says nothing, but a test has been passed, nevertheless. Now, there is business to be discussed. The Great Exodus. The exquisite seneschal requests your assistance to supply the Empire of Han's great work, a zeppelin that will take them to a new home far away from here. Materials for the journey. You point out that the Admiralty has the Empire of Hands both under embargo and quarantined. The only thing worse to be caught doing here than supplying them would be helping them escape their confinement. Have your people not already caused us enough pain? She demands. We starve, and you would prevent us being fed. We thirst to explore, and you cage us like animals. Why? For what fine purpose? What threat are we to you, who so happily dine with devils? She shakes her head, almost with pity. What could you possibly see in us that shames you so? We shall accept. You will help the apes complete their zeppelin. The exquisite seneschal bows again, deeper. With a pair of servants to row the boat, she takes you to the zeppelin site in Port Stanton. It was originally the project of a traveler from afar hoping to travel east, who encountered an accident. In his plans and engine, however, the monkeys saw their opportunity. The Great Exodus will require supplies and fuel, of course, explains the exquisite seneschal. We also seek souls to uplift our brethren that they may join the work. You will of course be reasonably compensated for your expenses, and rewarded upon completion. Since there may be faster ways to complete the Zeppelin, to say though would require a level of trust that you have not yet earned. Build status in court, and by supplying the build status in court and by supplying the Zeppelin. Okay. The Zeppelin is complete. Contributing souls to the Zeppelin. The Pentecost apes work feverishly to complete the craft. They'll take them on their great exodus. They will pay for resources, but at less than London prices. Contribute supplies to the Zeppelin. It'll be a long journey. The monkeys will need many supplies, both to survive it and to establish a new home. Or contribute souls to the Zeppelin. The well-wheeled court needs them to make efficient workers out of its low-souled population. Contribute fuel to the Zeppelin. Without regular fuel and hydrogen, it won't get far. A respected visitor to the wild-wheeled court can arrange a more efficient supply of fuel from elsewhere. We shall go back to Port Stanton. I guess we shall visit Heartsake Village. The smell of cannibals cooking stretches much of the way across the passing. It would make a vegetarian salviate and reach for a fork. The cannibals often okay. The lost treasure hunter. He joins the pirates to see the Z. Now he just hopes that one day see something he recognizes. Join a raid on the Empire of Hands? Don't see a reason to do so. The cannibals are often raid the mainland for both supplies and sport. The more the merrier, you are told. Be careful, you stand a chance of getting wounded. We'll see what the lost treasure hunter wants. Adventuring supplies. You came well prepared for this journey. Unless your idea of preparations happens to include a compass, a map not written in riddles, a sextant, and a spare set of spectacles to compensate for severe myopia. His adventures have left him with many tools to find golden glory. A sense of direction is not one of them. Trade supplies for Foxfire candles. Don't tell the others, but I still can't bring myself to eat like they do. I pretend, but it's a good thing there's berries. Wouldn't say no to something a bit more. Trade recent supplies for recent news for dynamite. You have a newspaper? I just don't feel entirely lost when I get back home. Trade a live specimen for a flare. Trade stories for the lost treasure hunter. Persuade him to give you his map. But I need a searing enigma. And a lot more Empire of Hand's delightful archaeology. I think I'll at least get the sticks of dynamite. Lost treasure hunter scans the latest headlines. Fascinating, he mutters, and should be most absorbent if needs must. Leave him to his search. He bids you a good day, and good hunting, of course. And we shall return to the boat. Smooth, easy trip, your arms are beginning to get used to the rowing. Fountainhead Island. An old sea shanty finds your tongue as you row, and left him treading water, all for the sake of the night he's shared with a rubbery captain daughter. We shall visit her camp and speak with her. Never mind. I guess there's really nothing else to do here. I was hoping that I could immediately do something. I guess, depending on how much time has actually passed. Let me check that just in a second. Yes, I believe enough time has passed. I think we shall end this episode here. I hope you've all enjoyed watching, and when we come back, we shall return to London. Perhaps for the last time with this captain. Until then, I hope you've all enjoyed watching. This has been BrainBoy20 with Let's Play Sunless Sea, and I am signing off. If you enjoyed the video, remember to like, comment, or subscribe,